thought I would do something different. Talk about radical personal responsibility. It sounds really harsh. Bear with me. I This was supposed to be something about something different, but I'm recording this in the beginning of March, and the world over the weekend seems to have just gone absolutely insane. And it reminded me about the things that we can control and the things that we cannot control. We cannot control how other people behave, whether that's the person in a house or whether that's the person in some big white mansion. But we can control what we choose to do and how we choose to do it. Everything that we do is ours. We have responsibility over that. So that is what we're going to talk about today. Now, this is taken from my Healthy But Human course. It's only available to one-to-one clients at the moment. So, but I thought it'd be really helpful just to help guide you into how to take radical personal responsibility in your life when it comes to your health, fitness, body weight goals, whatever it is. So, this is in the context of freedom from diet culture, because that is what I'm all about, breaking down those rules and those expectations. What it's not about is getting rid of the idea that we don't care about our health, that fitness isn't important, that healthy eating isn't important. Okay, so that's not what this is about. Prior to this lesson, in the course, I spoke about the things that we carry in our backpack. So these are the rules and stories and the expectations that we have gathered along the way. Think about how you were taught about food when you were a kid. Was dinner times lonely? Did you have to finish your plate? Was food a source of comfort when you were crying as a kid? All of these create stories and beliefs about what food means to us. Were you encouraged to exercise? Were you shamed for exercising because of how your body moved when you did? All of these have an impact on how our health, our fitness, and our relationship with food is as we are older. And then we add on the diets, and then we add on the amazing sort of like 90s, you know, supermodel kind of look into that and how women should look and the expectations placed on women in particular those times. And I use that as an example because that is a generation that I'm from. I am by no means saying that it is not like that now, because we are certainly coming back around to that now. But we carry all of these, we stick them one by one in our backpack, and we just like stomp our way through life, adding to them all of the time. And then one day we're just like, "Do you know what? This bag is way too heavy." And we don't even know that we're carrying this bag in the first place until we are just exhausted and drained by all of these rules and these expectations and these kind of ideas about what a healthy should like and what we should be doing for our health. So that is basically the first lesson. So we basically untangle all of those, and we notice how that is impacting our relationship with food and with ourselves, and realizing that it's not our fault because we have just learned all of these rules along the way. So it is not you, it really is the diets. So here's the difference: it is the rules, it is the diets, it is these stories and these messages that we have received. But what is it then? What is it that is going to help us get to that place that we need to be? Because if it's not the diets, then what is it? Well, let me tell you, it's you. It isn't a what, it is a who, and it is you. You are the only person that can make the decisions that is going to get you to where it is that you want to be. And yes, we do want to follow these diet rules. Of course we do, because we want somebody else to make those decisions for us. But every time we allow somebody else to take these decisions away from us, we just get further and further away from what it is that we actually want. And we just stick that new rule, or the many of them, sometimes they're little, sometimes they're big, and we shove them in our backpack. And then we're slogging along on this hard ass road anyway, because if you are going for a health or a fitness kind of goal, And that journey is tough enough as it is without having all of this baggage that you're carrying behind about the things that you should and shouldn't be doing and how you should and should not be looking. So even though diet culture shaped your relationship with food and exercise now, at some point we did allow this to happen. We allowed ourselves to follow these rules. Maybe not on purpose, but we certainly allowed it because we certainly continued to follow them. And we allowed these rules to continue to kind of drive us along this path that we are on. And then we're stopping and we're starting and we're getting overwhelmed by it. And then we have to stop and then we have to start a refresh. That is what that is what these rules are doing to us. We think they're helpful, but they are not. It really is the diets that are stopping you from achieving your goal. Now, when I say this, I am not discounting that food has an impact on our health. I am not ignoring the fact that calories exist. I am not ignoring the idea of what healthy food looks like and what unhelpful food looks like. I am not saying that exercise, you don't have to do exercise. I'm not saying any of that. We, of course, we want these things. Otherwise, we wouldn't keep chasing them. We wouldn't keep having this goal. And, there are certain foods that impact our own health. When we sit on the sofa all day, that impacts our health. It impacts how we move and how we age. I'm not ignoring any of this. That is not the point. What we are doing is getting rid of that backpack so that we can actually move on in a way that works for us. Having a workout plan given to you that is for 5 days a week for an hour a day, and you don't have that, you don't have that hour a day, you don't have that 5 hours a week, is not helpful for you. But guess who feels bad about that? You feel bad about that. You feel bad that you can't catch up. And there's another rule added to it. I need to work out 5 days a week if I'm going to be healthy, if I'm going to reach this goal. We want to get rid of all of these expectations and these unwritten rules that do not work for our life. So we go through our life unquestioning these rules that we have been following for so many different reasons. And I'm not judging you for that because I've worked hard to dismantle or untangle these beliefs. So I know how hard it is. And I know that I still have some sneaky ones popping up every now and again. Most recent one was 5% mince. I didn't know that was still a rule that I had that was unquestioned. And it wasn't until somebody stuck 20% mince in front of me that my brain freaked out and I was like, oh my God, how long, how have I not noticed this as a rule yet? So it is that we have them and we just question them as we go along. We're not looking at changing all of them because most of the time we don't even know that we have them. So, I needed to untangle these. And in order to untangle them, I needed to take responsibility of my own actions. So imagine you are sitting in a car. You are a passenger in a car and you're driving all the way up to the Highlands and you know that it's just going to be beautiful once you get there. But someone else is driving. They've decided the route that you're going to take. They're taking you off track, off road, up mountains, and it's rocky and it's bumpy and it's just like you just want to get off it all the time because it's unbearable. And they're telling you that this is the best way that you can do it. Trust me. Look at me. I've done this before. I've been up to the Highlands taking this path before. You don't love it. It feels a little bit uneasy. Just want to get out. You'll be willing to just do anything just to get off it, just to have a break, just camp out for the night, stay in a nice hotel, have some nice food, and then you'll just get back on it tomorrow because you just needed to take a rest. And we do this because we assume that person that is driving it knows best. So you just sit there and you just follow what's the phrase? Like ride the wave, whatever the appropriate term is for driving a car. But that is what diet culture feels like. It feels like you have been given something and you're supposed to follow it. You don't want to, which is why it feels uneasy. And maybe you don't like the meal plans that have been given to you, you don't like the food, it takes too bloody long to make. You've been given a workout plan that you just can't keep up with at the moment. We blindly follow it. We just say, yes, let's go. It feels uneasy. You take a day off and you overindulge because you just need some respite for all of this restriction. Then you gather more rules. So the next time you stop, now you feel even worse about yourself because why can't I just keep up with this? Why can't I just do this? Diet culture grabbed your steering wheel and it is guiding you up to the Highlands. Now, when you get to the Highlands, you absolutely know this is going to be amazing. Your goal is going to be amazing. But what we don't do is take that steering wheel and guide ourselves there of the most easiest or the most simple or even just the way that we actually want to do it that fits in with our life. So, like I said, somewhere along the way, we stopped questioning these rules and the ways that we have been achieving this goal. Because ultimately, we have been conditioned to believe that this person knows best. Because I've failed so many times. I've been to so many diet clubs. I've paid for so many programs, but I must be broken because I can't seem to do this, even though I've had all of these people help me. But let's be clear, diet culture shaped the rules. This is true. But if we continue to hand over these responsibilities only to the diets, we stay in this passenger seat and we just allow us to just drive on this rocky ass road that we have to keep stopping and starting on. And we just stay in that passenger seat and we do not get to steer our own car. So, responsibility isn't about fault, it is about taking ownership. It's that moment where you say, this is my life. I get to decide how I take it. I get to decide the path that I take, the journey that I take, whatever word you want to use there. My husband hates the word journey, but you get to decide that route that you take there, not somebody else. If you can't work out 5 times a week, don't start with 5 times a week. Who says you have to? If you want to start healthy eating and you get handed a plan of food that's going to take you an hour to cook every single evening, and your typical routine is to grab something out of the freezer and stick it in the air fryer, nothing wrong with that, by the way. I love an air fryer meal. But if that is what you currently do, and now you're expected to spend an hour in the kitchen cooking every single evening to make sure that you have the freshest, most cleanest food ever, then that's you taking that rocky journey. That's you not taking responsibility for what is happening to for what is happening on this journey that you're taking. Does that make sense? So passenger thinking sounds like this, similar to what I've just said. I couldn't eat well because somebody else cooked. I couldn't exercise because I didn't have time. I couldn't be consistent because life is busy. Now, here's the important thing is that those are very valid reasons. Those are all real reasons and they make absolute sense. But we tend to just stop there. Change stays outside of us when we are thinking, I can't do this because somebody else, something else, this happened. We explain the situation away like, well, I just can't then, can I? Just can't do that. But I can't eat healthy because somebody else is cooking for me. And I had this once in a group that I was in. But I can't eat healthy because my husband cooks dinner. Okay. So it was just like a done deal then, and I'm not blaming this person for how she was seeing, but that is, can you see how that is victim thinking? It's like, well, I can't achieve that because it's out of my hands, it's out of my control. And when we think like this, it doesn't create a way forward for us. So I want you to just think about something that I've called the 2-degree turn. So instead of overhauling your entire life, which is what we tend to do when we start doing anything, my favorite thing to ask people is, so if you were going to start exercising, today, this week, what would that look like for you? And they'll say, oh, totally, like walking for 30 minutes every single day this week. Okay. And I'm not being judgy and I'm not being patronizing when I say it, but next question is, well, when was the last time you walked 5 days a week? And there's nothing wrong with pushing yourself, but realistically, are you setting this out because you think that's what you should do? Or realistically, yes, that maybe you can do that. Your body might be able to do that. You might have the time to do that. But mentally, have you built up enough of a habit around that to do that 5 times a week? Because ultimately, if you haven't built a habit around doing that, your brain is going to fight you every single step of the way. But we did that yesterday, so we don't really have to do that today. Well, I'm a little bit kind of sore from yesterday, so maybe we shouldn't do that today. And there's nothing wrong with taking a day off. But what we do is we create guilt around it. We create it, we start labeling it as some sort of failure. In actual fact, we just plan too much and we just need to take a step back, or we simply just need to take a rest day and that's fine. But we just load all of this guilt onto ourselves all of the time. So instead of overhauling your entire life to reach this goal, we're just gonna grab that steering wheel and we're just gonna turn it just a little bit just to get off the track that we're currently on. That's it. It's not a whole U-turn. We're not clearing out all of our cupboards. We're not signing up for a year's worth of gym membership because that's going to motivate us to stay. It won't. Gyms thrive on members like that, know that they're going to sign up for a year with a massive discount because they know after 2 months they're probably not going to come back anyway. So they've got, £500, a grand for this gym membership that isn't being used anyway. So, if you're going to sign up for monthly for now, commit to it and then sign up for the year. I hate that. I hate that mentality of gym memberships. Anyway, get sidetracked. But it's not a reset. We are not clearing out our kitchen cupboards. We are not signing up for that year membership. We are not doing anything dramatic to help us stay motivated. We are just simply taking a small turn on our journey because that is how we move forward. That's how driving essentially works, doesn't it? We take these tiny shifts and moves all of the time. There's an aeroplane analogy, but I actually can't remember what it is. There's something about if you are even 2 degrees off when you leave one airport, and that 2 degrees off over a long period of time will take you somewhere completely different. I can't remember the analogy, so it's not a very good one, but the point still stands. You will be in somewhere different. You are destined to go along this path and you will go somewhere different, and it's a good thing because this original path that we're on, somebody else is in control. So we want to be in control. We want to change our habits and the things that we believe about what it is that we should be doing, and just do what it is that we want to actually be doing to support our own health and fitness, which might mean finding out what exercises you do like, finding out what foods you do actually like, what diet foods you want to keep and what ones you don't want to keep. Because ultimately, if you don't like quark, why are you still using it? Do you feel like you have to? Do you even like Rivitas? Cardboard? Do you like eating cardboard? Quite like it with cream cheese on, but it's not my favorite. So it's like questioning, why are we eating these things that we are eating? Are we enjoying our food? Because when we don't enjoy our food, when we feel like we're on this constant kind of rat race or hamster wheel of eating boring food, the brain just says, for the love of God, just give me a slice of cake. And then we eat a slice of cake, and then we eat all of the cake because we've been so deprived of it. And then the cycle starts again, right? And we feel bad about ourselves, get sidetracked again. So we're making tiny adjustments and we repeat those. We repeat that thing that we are doing because you are going to take one situation where you would normally say, I couldn't because, and instead of just stopping there, I can't do that because I don't have the time, you're going to finish the sentence this time. I can't do this, insert whatever, because of this. But What can I do instead? That's it. I can't go for a 30-minute walk today because I'm busy, I've run out of time, whatever. What can I do instead? Can I do 5 squats in the kitchen and then 5 push-ups off the kitchen side? Can I do that instead? That's going to take me a couple of minutes. I could probably do that. Is it a 30-minute walk? No, but then it doesn't have to be. Because the thing that we forget about all of this is the fact that we need to build our confidence with us. We need to have faith that we will do the things that we say we're going to do. So even if we haven't done that 30-minute walk, we can still say, yes, but I have done something. I did 5 squats, 5 push-ups today instead of going for a walk. Perfectly fine. It's the quitting on ourselves that creates the problem. Well, I can't go for that 30-minute walk, so fuck it. I won't do anything. We don't look for alternatives. We just be like, nope. Well, if I can't do that, then I won't do anything at all. And this is that all or nothing mentality. So you are simply going to ask yourself, so what can I do? What is in my control here? I think I've got it on the next slide. So I couldn't eat well because somebody else cooked. So you need to ask yourself, what can I control here? What can I do here that's going to help me? Maybe it's I can plate my food portion with intention. I can eat slowly so that I'm still recognizing my hunger and my fullness. What can I add to it to balance it out? If it's I don't know, macaroni cheese, can I add something to it that's going to help balance that out a little bit? What can I add? What food, what vegetables can I add to that that's going to help balance it out? Can I stop when I'm comfortably full? Do I need to stop trying to um, make people feel good around me by finishing the food that is being prepared for me? Because there's nothing wrong with you leaving food. There's what is wrong with that is you're finishing your food because somebody else expects you to. Again, somebody else is driving your car. The idea is not to be perfect. It's not about what is ideal. It's just about taking this radical personal responsibility. That is what we're looking for. This is me. This is how I want to do it. That's what we're looking for. So I didn't exercise because I had no time. Okay, so what can I do now then? Maybe it's just 10 minutes. Maybe I go for a 10-minute walk. Maybe I do some stretching before bed, squats and push ups in the kitchen. Maybe on the next call I have to make, I just go for a walk. Again, not perfect. Just steering yourself towards taking radical personal responsibility. Love that word. So let's make this easy. It has to feel manageable. It has to feel like it's something that you know that you can do. But whatever it is that you decide, it has to feel easy. If it feels like, imagine you have a scale out of 1 to 10, and you're thinking, oh, do you know, I think I'm going to do 100 squats a day. And I don't like squats. So, on a level of difficulty, where do you think you're going to score that? 8 or a 10 out of 10? An 8 or a 9 even out of 10, maybe even a 10 out of 10 is just like impossible. If you hate squats and doing 100 a day, I would suggest it's impossible. But if it's an 8 or a 9, that top end is too big for you. You've created a situation where you are going to constantly feel like, or likely to constantly feel like you're a failure because you've just made something that is too challenging for you for now. That's not to say you won't do a 100 squat challenge in the future, although I actually don't recommend them as a challenge for an entire month. I think it's causes all sorts of problems to your body because it will just become really imbalanced. So don't do them. And I know they're for charity, but do something else with them. Do some push-ups with them or something. Anyway, so we're building by doing this. When you are giving yourself these big ass challenges that you feel like you need to do because they are the way to keep you motivated, all you do is set yourself up for failure, right? And what we want to be doing is building evidence that you can do these things. that you can achieve these wins. And when we get these little wins and these little, like, yay, go me, I just did that today. I didn't go for a walk, but I did do squats in the kitchen. You get a little kind of, imagine, you have the habit trackers or the children's like reward charts. You tick yourself, and that's a little kind of dopamine hit from you. It's like, yes, well done me. I've committed to myself to doing this. This is what we're looking for. When we set something up that is an 8 or a 9 out of 10 on the difficulty level, we are shooting ourselves in the foot every single time because it is too challenging for ourselves. You might be able to do that once, maybe twice a week, but are you able to do it for the whole 5 times that you said you will? Now you can say, I am going to do this twice a week and then I'm going to do this on the other days of the week. Absolutely fine, because you get a little bit of a challenge and you make it easy for yourself. And then you build up to it. So you just add in another 30-minute walk on another day every other week or whatever. But we are creating wins. We are not shooting ourselves in the foot every single time, because that's not helpful, because we won't get started, or we will get started, but we're stopping and starting all of the time. We are trying to build confidence in yourself first. We are not trying to create more pressure. Society says that we should be working out 5 days a week for half an hour. And ideally, we need to be, because that is what's good for our health. But that is not where we start. That is the point. Okay. A little bit of a ranty. Anyway, when you move from this happened to me to what can I influence here, your nervous system just starts to feel better. You don't feel so helpless. And this is key. When you shift from what can I influence here? What am I in control of here? You build capacity, you build confidence, you build self-trust in yourself, and you stop feeling hopeless. And I use the word hopeless because I remember that's how I felt. So that might not be how you felt, and that's absolutely fine. But you can begin to see yourself as somebody who is steering your car. You are the one that's driving. You want to get to the Highlands, but you want to take a smooth road that is quicker, because you don't have to keep stopping and starting and getting, having a rest out of the car because it's so goddamn bumpy. You get to become the driver instead of being that passenger, because I can assure you, if you do not take responsibility over these things, somebody else will always come in and take responsibility for you. Somebody else will always guide your life in a path if you do not do that for yourself. And diet culture is a perfect example of that. So you are the one that is the driver. You get to take radical personal responsibility um, over how you get to your goal. And when you do that, when you take responsibility of that, you will achieve your goal, and it will feel easy because you will get to decide. Nobody else, you. That feels amazing, right? If something is going on with me, like there's this kind of stuff going on inside my business that I've had to take personal responsibility for, and it feels good. It hurts, of course it hurts, but it feels good. It feels good to take responsibility out there, because then I know that I'm the only person that can fix it. It's not up to everybody else. It's up to me to fix this thing that is happening. And it's absolutely fine, because I get to decide. I get to choose where we go next. I get to decide what the future of my business looks like, because I am the only one that is responsible for it. It's nothing bad, by the way. Just things are changing, and it feels good because I'm taking responsibility for that, rather than just being hopeless in it. You do not and cannot have control over everything. I know, so frustrating, especially for us control freaks out there. But people do strange shit that just impacts our lives. And unfortunately, that's the joy of sharing our lives with other people. But your job isn't to take responsibility for the actions of other people. So when I'm talking about the things in here about taking personal responsibility for the things that are happening, I'm talking about this in the diet culture context, not in your life, in your childhood, in the things that other people have done to you that is unfair, that is horrible, that you have been a victim of. That is not what I'm talking about. I am saying this in the context of health culture, fitness culture, diet culture. That's the container that the context that we're talking about this in. Need to make that clear, because sometimes we're like, well, I have to take responsibility for the things that other people do for you. Absolutely not. I'm not taking responsibility for my ex-boyfriend trying to kill me. I'm not taking responsibility for that. That's his. What I can choose is how I move through my life, even though that happened to me. That's me taking responsibility of my actions afterwards, not his actions at the time. Hope that makes sense. Um, so, yes, sometimes being told that you have to take responsibility for your life can feel really hurtful. It absolutely can. It can hurt your heart because you are the only one that can drive your car. I mean, sometimes we don't want to take responsibility. We just don't. We're humans, because if we take responsibility, then we are the only person who is responsible for us achieving our goal. And if we don't achieve it, we've got nobody else to blame apart from ourselves. We don't want to do that. So, human nature, we get it. It's fine. But when you stop following those rules and you stop deciding that somebody else knows how you should do this better than you, everything else becomes a lot easier. You do know what you're doing. You do know what healthy eating looks like. You do know what movement you like doing. Stop adding the pressure onto yourself that it has to be done a certain way in order for it to be right. There is no right way. There is just your way. So let's make it happen. 2 degree test. Where are you not taking responsibility for your health goal, your fitness goal, your food goals, whatever that looks like? Where are you not taking responsibility for that? Who are you blaming? Oh, is somebody else driving your car? What diets are you following that just feel a little bit like, oh, another, I can't eat this? And a big kind of red flag is, I can't have that because I feel guilty. I'm going to eat this. When you start feeling like you're going to rebel against how it is that you are doing this health thing, that should be a big red flag that you are not following your own version of what that looks like. So I want you to ask yourself, where am I not taking responsibility? Who am I putting this on? Who is driving my car for me? And if I was to take hold of that steering wheel and start deciding what journey I want to take, what would that look like for you? What story is your brain going to offer up? This is always an interesting one, because your brain will always offer up a story. When we're going to quit diet, when we quit diet culture, your brain has a lot of opinions about that, like a lot. And it's trying to dismantle them or untangle them, because not everything that your brain says is true. It's just talking to you all of the time, but not everything is true. So, how are you going to dismantle? What versions of those stories are you going to believe? What stories do you want to keep? What stories do you want to go? Decide. And not decide all at once, because you might go a little bit sort of like cuckoo if you're trying to untangle all of those thoughts all at the same time. But just notice what comes up, what stories come up in your head, what thoughts, what words, what sentences come up in your head when you say, right, we are no longer going to have quark, we are going to have Greek yogurt today instead, because it's delicious and it tastes so much better. What are you going to do? What story is going to come up? How are you going to deal with that story? What would you like to say to yourself instead? What surprised me about ditching these rules? And there are no right or wrongs, there is no judgment. We're just noticing what it is. We're just starting to notice those rules, starting to notice where we might not be taking responsibility for this, and noticing who is driving our car up to the gorgeous Highlands. So I have the Rebuild 4 week group coaching program. It is online, so that is up. I will drop the details in the notes along with this. So if you want to join that, we start the 7th of March. So when's that? Next week. And it's 4 weeks, but I guide you through basically how to step outside of diet culture and find that freedom that we so desperately need to have around food. So if you enjoyed this, Rebuild is definitely your next step. So I will speak to you all very soon, and goodbye.